Good afternoon, and thank you once more. Over the past four presentations, we proposed a team, a risk management program, a policy portfolio, and a contingency planning program. Every one of those proposals assumes something, that someone at the top is steering the ship. That's governance. Today, we bring it all together. A cybersecurity governance program is the structure that makes sure security isn't just the CISO's problem. It's a board level and executive level responsibility with defined outcomes, clear roles, and measurable accountability. We're going to build this on a recognized framework, the IT Governance Institute's approach, supplemented by the National Association of Corporate Directors' Essential Practices for Cyber Risk Oversight. Over the next several minutes, I'll specify the program's desired outcomes, the benefits, and responsibilities for both the executive team and the CISO. The NACD Essential Practices for Boards and the NACD Essential Practices for Executive Management, all mapped to CGT. This is presentation 5. Here's our path. Why governance mattered and the ITGI framework we'll use second. The 5 desired outcomes of the governance program. Third, the NACD Essential Practices for Board of Directors. Fourth, the NACD Essential Practices for Executive Management, including the benefits and responsibilities of the executive team. And fifth, the CISO's role as program designer and the decision I'm requesting. Let me draw a distinction that matters. Management and governance are different things. Management, that's the CISO and the security team. Plans, builds, runs, and monitors the security program day to day. Governance, that's this board and the executive team. Sets the direction, makes sure security aligns with business strategy, and holds management accountable for results. You can have excellent management without governance, but you'll still drift because nobody at the top is steering. The IT Governance Institute, which is linked to ISACA and the COBIT framework, defines cybersecurity governance as a set of responsibilities and practices exercised by the board and executive management to provide strategic direction, ensure objectives are achieved, manage risk appropriately, and verify that resources are used responsibly. It identifies 5 desired outputs, and it works hand in hand with the NACD's essential practices for how boards and executives should exercise that oversight. That combination, ITGI outcomes plus NACD practices, is the structure we're proposing for CGT. These are the 5 desired outcomes the ITGI framework says every cybersecurity governance program must achieve. 1, strategic alignment. Security strategy is aligned with business strategy. For OGT, that means our security priorities follow our business priorities, protecting source code and enabling safe external testing, not generic security for its own sake. 2, risk management. Risks are identified, assessed, and managed to a level this board defines as acceptable. That's exactly the risk management program from presentation 2, governed by the risk appetite statement you approve. 3, resource management. Security investments go where they deliver the most value and resources and are used efficiently. That's the 12-person team from presentation 1, right size to our footprint, with phased hiring to control cost. 4, value delivery. Security investments deliver measurable value, not just spending. We need metrics and KPIs that prove protection is improving. 5, performance measurement. The program is monitored so the board actually knows it's working, quarterly reports, maturity scorecards, and annual attestations. Notice that every outcome maps to something we've already proposed. Governance is the glue that ties the previous 4 presentations into one accountable structure. The National Association of Corporate Directors identifies 5 essential practices specifically for board of directors. These are not optional nice-to-haves. They are the standard of care for board-level cyber risk oversight. Practice 1, treat cybersecurity as an enterprise-wide risk management issue, not just an IT issue. For CGT, that means security becomes a standing board agenda item and is not delegated solely to the CIO. Practice 2, understand the legal and regulatory implications of cyber risk. For CGT, that means recognizing our liability exposure, employee PII in ATRIS and payroll, the value of our source code, and our contractual obligations to software for all. Practice 3, ensure the board has access to cybersecurity expertise and that cyber risk discussions get adequate time on the agenda. For CGT, the CISO presents quarterly, and we engage external expertise when needed. Practice 4, set the expectation that management will establish an enterprise-wide risk management framework with adequate staffing and budget. For CGT, that's exactly what presentation 1 through 4 delivered. Practice 5, include discussion of cyber risk with every business decision. For CGT, every new game launch, every external tester engagement, and every new vendor relation should trigger a security review. Where the last slide told the board what it should expect and oversee, this slide tells executive management, the COO, the CBO, the CIO, and the CISO what they must actively do. First, establish and maintain the governance framework itself. Define roles, decision rights, and accountability across all 3 divisions. Second, align security strategy with business objectives. Every security investment should support CGT's mission of shipping great games safely. Third, develop and enforce the policy portfolio, the 17 documents from presentation 3, and enforce them consistently. Fourth, ensure adequate resource staff. The team, fund the tools, and protect the budget annually. Fifth, monitor, measure, and report. Deliver quarterly dashboards, maintain the risk register, and show maturity progress year over year. And 6, foster a security-aware culture. Champion training, model secure behavior, and make security a shared value. These 6 practices are what turn the board's governance expectations into operational reality. Let's make the trade explicit. On the left, the benefits to the executive team. Governance gives you documented due diligence, real protection against personal liability. It gives you a clear decision framework so risk decisions are structured, not ad hoc. It enables informed resource allocation based on data rather than fear. It reduces regulatory and legal exposure. It gives you a quantifiable security posture you can present to partners and to software for all. And it provides early warning through metrics. Problems surface before they become crises. On the right, what you owe in return, champion security as a business priority. Approve and enforce the risk appetite and the policy portfolio. Allocate the budget, headcount, and executive time the program needs. Hold the CISO accountable for execution and reporting. Participate. Personal. In contingency exercises and report the risk posture to the board quarterly. These responsibilities aren't extra work stacked on top of your day job. They're how you govern one of the biggest risks the company faces. Now, the same structure for the CISO, the program designer. On the left, benefits. Governance gives the CISO what every security leader needs to succeed. Executive sponsorship backed by the board, a defined scope with a charter rather than an open-ended mandate, direct access to the CEO and board for escalation, a committed budget and a headcount, cross-divisional cooperation mandated by policy rather than negotiated case by case, and measurable success criteria. Performance judged on agreed KPIs, not on whether the last breach made the news. On the right, responsibilities. The CISO designs, implements, and operates the security program end-to-end. They develop and maintain the entire policy portfolio. They execute risk management, lifecycle, and maintenance, and maintain the risk register. They build and lead the contingency planning program. They deliver quarterly metrics, maturity assessments, and board inputs. And they advise this board and the executive team on emerging threats and strategic risk. In short, the board executes, executives set the direction and hold the CISO accountable. The CISO designs, builds, and runs the program and reports back. Governance is the contract between them. Here's the complete model on one slide. How everything we built connects. At the top, the board of directors exercising the 5 NACD practices, oversight, direction, and the expectation that management will deliver a real program. Below them, executive management, the CIO, the COO, the CBO, translating that direction into operational accountability. Below them, the CISO, reporting to the CEO, who designs, builds, and operates the program. And at the bottom, the 4 program pillars we've built across this presentation series. The security team, the risk management program, the policy portfolio, and contingency planning. The arrow flow both ways, direction and oversight down, accountability and reporting up. And the whole structure is measured against the 5 ITGI outcomes at the bottom. That is governance. This table ties it all together. Every ITGI outcome has an owner at every level of governance. For strategic alignment, the board sets business direction, executives translate that into security objectives, and the CISO aligns the program. For risk management, the board defines the appetite, executives approve treatment decisions, and the CISO executes the life cycle. For resource management, the board approves the budget, executives allocate across divisions, and the CISO staffs and equips the team. For value delivery, the board expects measurable returns, executives demand KPIs linked to business value, and the CISO reports what was delivered. And for performance measurement, the board reviews quarterly reports, executives hold the CISO accountable, and the CISO delivers the metrics and maturity scores. Governance isn't a layer added at the top of the security program. It's how each level of leadership connects to it. Let's step back and see the complete picture. Over 5 presentations, we've built a comprehensive cybersecurity program for CGT. Presentation 1 gave us the team, 12 professionals led by a CISO. Presentation 2 gave us the risk management program, a continuous 5-phase cycle. Presentation 3 gave us the policy portfolio, 17 policies across 3 types. Presentation 4 gave us contingency planning, BIA, IR, DR, BC, in 7 stages. And now presentation 5 gives us governance, the ITGI outcomes and the NACD practices that everything ties everything together. Governance isn't the 5th pillar sitting beside the others. It's the thread that runs through all 4, connecting board direction to operational execution. Without it, we have 4 excellent standalone programs that can drift. With it, we have one integrated, accountable, measurable security posture. So here's what I'm asking the board to approve. 4 things. 1, adopt ITGI governance. Commit to the 5 desired outcomes as CGT's cybersecurity governance standard. 2, embrace the NACD essential practices. Implement the 5 board practices and the 6 executive practices we just discussed. 3, define accountabilities. Formalize the governance chain from the board through executive management to the CISO. And 4, measure and report. Require quarterly dashboards and an annual maturity attestation so governance has teeth. Over 5 presentations, we proposed a team, a risk program, a policy portfolio, contingency planning, and now the governance that ties them all together. Security without governance is, in effect, without direction. This program provides that direction. Thank you for your time across this entire series. I'm glad to take your questions.